Hope all of you doing well. This is Coach Bala here. Happy New Year again to all of you. Happy New Year 2026. Super excited to kickstart our first episode of our Reflections podcast series. Those of you who are new or who are hearing this for the first time, we at RHWB, Runners High with Bala, as our community, we believe in training in two different directions: training from coach to runners and training from runners to runners. And the idea of Reflections podcast series is for us to learn from fellow runners, because each and every runner's journey is unique and they all have a ton of learnings to give to all of us. And also, these are all incredible people. What better way than talking to these folks and understanding who they are as human beings and what are their motivations and how they come to the same point. We all on the similar platform right now, but our path to the same platform is very different. So that's the idea of this Reflections podcast series. And we've been doing this for a good amount of time. I think this is some 85 plus episode. But what is special is this is episode number 1 for this season. And I have with me 3 lovely runners who have been with us for some time. Pankaj Kovil, Pankaj Bhatia, and Jagruthi Ajwalia. All 3 of them are with me today and to talk about their journey. And let's just jump in right after their introduction. Let's start with Jagruthi. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, this is Jagruthi. I'm actually from Tampa, Florida. I have a humble beginnings. My parents actually migrated from India to New Jersey. So I was raised actually in New Jersey, Hudson County, for those of you who are in Jersey, know exactly where that is. I grew up in North Bergen. I went to school there, and then college I went to Rutgers University. I did my chemistry degree there. I practiced as a chemist for a few years, and then when the information technology boom took place, I shifted my career from being an organic chemist to what took, approximately 20 plus years in this field. So it has been a wonderful journey from that perspective as well. I wanted to share with you, in high school I played flag football. I don't think anyone knows that, and even my coach doesn't know. So it was fun playing flag football. That's the only thing that I can share from a sports perspective. I am married. I've been married for 24 years with my husband Manish. I have 2 boys. They are 21 and 18. Anant and Anirudh. They're both at the University of Central Florida here in Orlando. They were home for the holidays, so we just sent them back yesterday. So that's a little bit about me. Back to you, Paula.
Amazing, Jagruthi. Welcome to the show. Born and brought up in New Jersey. So, have you attended our New Jersey race day or not till now?
I have not, but that is one of my plans because I do have family back in New Jersey. So
That's what I thought. You gotta do. You gotta see some New Jersey love that gets distributed on a regular basis.
I've seen the pictures, so I know one of my plans is to come up just for the race day.
Yes, you should. It's time
And
for
the
you.
lovely food after.
Exactly. So before we started the program, I was just telling Jagruthi that you should go out to different places to do running and all that. Now when I think about it, first thing is you should come to New Jersey to do your run first, and then we'll think about other places.
Yes.
But looking forward to sort of seeing you in one of our race days, maybe this season only for all that. Okay. Awesome. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Pankaj Kovil, what about you, buddy?
Delighted to be here, Bala. My name is Pankaj. I have a wife and 2 daughters. I live here in Edison. I came to United States, then went back, and then again came back in 2000s. Been here since then. I was in Chicago. Started in Chicago and then moved to New Jersey. And I do not know what's unique about this chemistry that Jagruthi mentioned. I have a daughter. She did chemical engineering, and she also moved out of chemistry. She did not want to pursue that. So somehow the chemistry isn't working for us. But hey, whatever works, it's good. But I'm happy to be here. I have not been a very sporty person or very much into games or sports, a little bit of badminton here and there, things like that. I've always enjoyed walking. Other than that, not much of a sportsman. That's about me.
Awesome. And Pankaj, back in India, where were you originally born and brought up, college and all that?
Absolutely. I was born in Ajmer, Rajasthan. Very nice place. Very good. Two good things about it. It's close to Pushkar, which is the only place in the world where there is a Brahma temple. And then there is also Dargah Sharif, which is the second most important place for Muslims besides Mecca. So I'm from a very good town. I love it. It's a nice small hometown.
Awesome, Pankaj. Welcome, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Bhatia, how about you?
All right, so I'm the second Pankaj in this group. Actually, I think when I was in college, there's a girl called Pankaj, and that was very embarrassing. But we won't talk about that. So I am from, I guess, originally from Delhi. My wife is actually from Hyderabad, and I came to the US in 1984. As Pankaj, you were saying, from Chicago. That's where I lost my passport when I came in.
Wow.
So that's something I can never forget. I also, so I was in Michigan for 4 years, and then I was teaching in a very small private liberal arts college in Nebraska for 4 years, and then we moved to Massachusetts in '92. We have a son who's decided to take a break right now from work, and he's in New Zealand. And I was in, Bangalore for 2 years, and this year we have decided to I've decided to take off from work. I've been in Teradyne long enough, 18 years or something, and our plan is to spend half our life or half our year in Hyderabad. So that's the plan, and that's me.
Wonderful. What a journey, and congratulations. Looks like you're looking for a well-earned, deserved retirement break shortly. We all are, we all are looking forward to that at some point soon, time to stop working and do only things that you enjoy, which is hopefully running is one of that, Pankaj. But amazing, when you talked about your son, I just realized that the next generation of ours, they all have this courage and confidence that, I'm just going to stop working and then enjoy life for a year and then come back to working. Dekha jayega. Whatever happens will happen.
Absolutely.
That's such a powerful thing. We haven't had that confidence. It's just so good to see. It's just amazing. That's how it's supposed to be. Like, work is not everything. Work is just a means to something else. But anyway, welcome Pankaj B, Pankaj G, and Jagruthi. Can't wait to double click and let's just understand who you are, what your journey is. So audience, we see every episode, we click on something that is common. That's how this sort of guest triads are formed. And the one thing that is common among, I'm sure there are a few more that we are going to unearth very soon. Out of the three of them is that they have been with us in RHWB for at least 5, maybe more, 7, 8 seasons in, I think, Jagruthi and Pankaj season 8 and Pankaj Bhatia probably season 9 or season 10 you started?
9.
9, yeah. So 5 seasons plus minimum. They've been doing this. Now 5 seasons seems small. Another way of saying this is 5 seasons is 2.5 years of your life of continuous training. When is the last time any one of us did something for 2.5 years continuously? I haven't done anything like this. Before all this running started, I haven't done any one thing for so long. Even at the same place of work also, I haven't done more than 5 years at one point, right? So that is something very special. It's not easy, especially when it comes to running in cold and warm and heat and travel and, life throws so many wrenches. So if Pankaj Govil said that this is 8th or 9th season, that means this is 4 years plus. Jagruthi is similar story. That means there's something else going on. You can wing it for one season, but you can't wing it for like 4 years. And if you look at them, and they're all ready to go for another 10 seasons. And without even thinking. So there's something going on in their thought process, in the way they sort of approach the season. And that's the goal of this episode, which is to sort of understand what is their journey and what makes them come back again and again and what can we learn from them. So that's really what it is. So before we do that, let's start with you, Jagruthi. Talk to me a little bit about how you even entered RHWB, how you became a runner. What was the story there?
Sure. I'll share that very first season that I joined. It was my brother and I were having a conversation. He was part of RHWB, and he said, we were just having a casual conversation that I want to be a little bit healthier and I want to do something, but not too much where it takes away my time. And he's like, well, try this program and see how it is. And then during that season, the entries were quite limited, right? So you had to apply and get in within certain time period, otherwise you're cut off, right? So I didn't make that cut off, and I was part of the behind the scenes, and I was given the program on Final Surge, but with no coach. And then I went ahead and actually did the entire program in that manner. And then I got selected to be part of, because I was so diligent without having a coach. And I was completely shocked that, oh, I was going to get a coach. Oh, and then I was screaming and I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to be part of this program with a coach. So I got selected in that way. And then once I got the coach, the first few weeks, those first miles where I haven't done any kind of running before, right? So this was something 1 mile, 2 mile. I'm like, wow, actually you can do this without, and just being consistent about it, right? That you can actually reach these different milestones within that first season. So when I first got my 5 miles, I am texting Coach on the side saying, can you believe I just finished 5 miles? I've never done 5 miles before. And the excitement that I had within me, I can't explain it. And then the 6th mile happened, the 7, every mile, I'm like, no way. It didn't seem like I was going to be able to reach that next mile. But every miso that we actually went through, and it was just happening. It was just milestone after milestone, and PR, and the alerts that come up on your watch saying that you've hit your next next PR, or you've hit 10K, and I've never done 10K before. So it was quite amazing to just go through that, and the dopamine that you get from hitting that next milestone was just pretty amazing for me. It was addictive.
Absolutely.
So that's what I wanted to show you. Yeah.
Absolutely. What a beautiful starting point in all this wonderful journey, right? So folks, just to give a little bit more color to what Jagruthi was mentioning in terms of her transition from light to coach-led. As she said, we didn't have too many coaches, so we had a certain capacity and we didn't want to overload the coaches. So we had now we have 35 coaches, just so you know. But the time when Jagruthi joined, probably we had 8 or 9 coaches, and that's pretty much it. And each of them had a 30, 40 is the max we could take. Folks, if you miss out on that timeline, then we offer them that, okay, you can't come to coach-led, but you can be in the self-driven, like where we just give you the program, like the current self-driven, which is only given right now only for return runners at this point. New runners can't even take it nowadays. But those days, we said, okay, new runners, if you want, you can do it yourself. Later on, next season, you can do it. So that's how Jagruthi joins that. Now, we did that, there are folks who join as coach-led and then they don't do it properly. So we had the 2-week rule, which is there even now. If you don't do your stuff for 2 weeks for no good reason, then you are kindly requested, forcibly taken to and put into the self-serve program, so that we can have the coach focus more on the runners that really require the coaching. So those days, because we had this demand, so we used to do every couple of weeks, we used to go back to the self-serve program and see if there are any runners who deserve a coach because they're just being very good in being self-motivated, and that is how we got Jagruthi there. Oh my God, she's just doing everything herself. It would be nice because our entire goal was to drive impact to people. So if somebody is doing it by herself so well, I'm sure a coach can do slightly better than just being alone, and that's how Jagruthi moves. So it just tells you volumes about who Jagruthi is as a runner and as a person. That self-motivation is so key in any endeavor like this. You can't constantly look for instant gratification in somebody patting on your back. These are something that you are doing it for yourself. You've got to believe that. That is when you do this. In fact, that probably is one of the first lessons here in this chapter. If you want to do a long thing like this, you got to be self-motivated. If you're not self-motivated, you're not doing this. You can't be doing it just because your friend is doing it, your father is doing it, and etc. You're doing it because you want to do it. Then we are talking a different language. So Jagruthi, thanks for showing that example there, how that plays out in real life. Pankaj Koval, what's your story, man? Like, how did you get to RHWB? How did you become a runner?
So it's very interesting, Bala. Even though your daughter and my daughter have been very close friends, I never took advantage of it somehow. I didn't know about it. But I had heard a lot about this, there's a person called Bala and there's a running group and all of that. But since I was never into running, never did anything, so I always kind of never took it so seriously until one of my neighbors said, well, you should try this program. And he enticed me into joining this program. And I started this program. I was with one of the Coach Indus. I started with the 5K, and then in that first season itself, she motivated me to go into the 10K, and I was able to do the 10K. And it was pretty surprising. I said, how is that possible that I've never done anything in 10? Okay, fine, we can do it. But it was very much like Jagruthi said, each mile, and you get the gratification each, step that you take forward. And the fact that this program gives you a very rigorous or kind of a subscribed routine is what I was really craving for, because I'm not so much as motivated as Jagruthi. So if somebody tells me you need to do this, then I do it a little better. So it turned out to be very good for me.
Amazing. This thing comes back again and again in many different stories, guys.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes good things in life, you don't plan for it. You just fall into it. Now, in this case, Pankaj just was right next to this big community of doing it, never bothered. Even though he could have had all the possibilities, sister's daughter, my daughter, working same school, we're all together, never bothered. But suddenly his neighbor gave him a spark, and that spark led to a forest fire eventually. Now, the lesson here is, generally, you should tell to your friends and family who are considering this, because I know many of you would play the same part as Pankaj's neighbor did for Pankaj, is that you have to tell everyone that, hey, don't think of this with your current assumptions. Your current assumptions gives you current setup. You're thinking of something else. A journey of 10 years of 10 seasons of training, 5 years of training. This is not something you've never thought of, never heard of. So you can't use your current assumptions and assess whether I can do the next 10 seasons like this, right? You can't do that. But what you can do is make yourself inspirable so that you just try. Somebody is saying something, just try. What is the downside? You'll fail, that's all, no? You'll just try it out. Yeah. We don't even charge, we just charge some pittance of something like 3 or 4 Starbucks coffee is the total amount that we are asking for. That too for our own cost, for running our organization cost, and that's pretty much it. So try. Okay, 5 coffees wasted, that's it. This is the message you all need to give to your family and friends who are considering this. Because all of us have gone through the same route. Because none of us are athletes, or very few of us were athletes. Everyone came into this with zero background. And suddenly we find ourselves doing this for 5 years. There must be something that has changed, right? So that's what we're going to double click on it. And Pankaj, that was a great story. Pankaj Bhatia, what's yours, my friend?
So I live in a neighborhood in Westford, Massachusetts. Coach Suja lives in the neighborhood. Coach Srivatsan is right in the next cul-de-sac. We are another one. So my wife signed both of us up. I think it was all like a women's club. And so I got signed up. And suddenly I have Coach Suja who lives in the next neighbor, like in the next cul-de-sac. Now I also felt like Pankaj Govil that, hey, if I don't do this, I'm going to run into her or Raghu. And I'm like, oh my God, you didn't do your thing. So kind of did that. And I guess I'm not very good at following directions. So I think I didn't quite do all the stretches and everything. And I immediately had I didn't even know what a metatarsal was, but then I learned very quickly that my foot had some issue. And I think the best thing about the coaches here is that I don't know how they find the time to interact with all the cohorts. It's almost like, oh my God, you have 30 of them, and whoever has some question and all that. So I think that first season definitely was rough. I signed up for the 5K, and my son, of course, he does like an Ironman triathlon, so there is no comparison. And so in any case, I think that's how the beginning happened. And of course, when the season ended, I didn't quite, okay, thank God, it's done. And then we joined the next one as well. And then Suja, Coach Suja, said, okay, I think you can do a 10K. You were fine, in spite of all the things you had. And that was, and that was the beginning.
Very nice. Amazing. Very nice. No, yeah, exactly. Such a common theme again here. This, like Pankaj Bhatia's story, is another theme. And that theme is somebody starts off with a 5K. And I can't tell you the number of runners who started off with 5K and become like a monster runners. Like as in been on it consistently for a long time. There's so many of them. And that just tells you, and we're all growing old. It's not as if we're growing younger. We are growing older. And our distances are increasing, our pace is increasing, our health is increasing. How is that possible? Something is not logically at least from the top down when you look at it.
Yeah.
But that's a speciality. And that's, again, coming back to the theme of this podcast. Anything great, if it needs to happen, you got to be at it for some time. There is no instant gratification on these kind of things. Let me start with myself. I'm sure some of you might have seen. I was walking with a walking stick, literally with a walking stick, when I was all of 34 years of age. Now I'm 50. What has changed that a 34-year guy walking with a walking stick to a 53-year-old just recently completing his 15th marathon? And the difference is being at it. Being at it. You got to be at it. Luckily for me, 20 years of being at it has given me benefits, huge benefits. And I can see the similar story that will be played out with the three of you. And with that thought process, Jagruthi, let me come back to you. When you look back, how many seasons you've been at RHWB now?
I would say 7 or 8. So I
Eight
started
seasons.
at
This is probably
season
your
8. Yeah, season 8. I
Right.
started.
This is your 8th season. Yeah. So starting your, call it, end of 3.5 to 4th year, like that is the kind of every season is 6 months. So 7 seasons, 3.5 years of training done, and you're entering your sort of the last 6 months to complete your 4 years of training. So when you look back, Jagruthi, when you look at season 1 first, and then you look at, call it your season 8 that you're entering, mentally, how do you see yourself approaching a season? How has it changed from season 1 to season 8?
So I will share that I'm a very extroverted individual from the beginning. But what has happened to me is that steady and slow meets that goal. So I keep reminding myself that again and again. This is a phenomenal system that you have created, Coach. And the system, if you just follow to the T, it works. It works, meaning the first season, I will say, okay, I was a little bit skeptical here and there, but then it was proof that someone who has never run before finished a half marathon, and it was just incredible to see and have that achievement, and it sort of opened up that trust in the system. Right? Once I had that trust, I didn't question it. I just followed everything that the coach was telling me with the program, the final surge, the strength training. I do remember that if I didn't do the strength training the way we were supposed to, I felt it, truly felt it. And then I'm like, okay, what do I need? So I did a lot of introspection from that perspective to course correct, talk to the coach, and be open with the coach, right? Like if I didn't talk to him, he wouldn't be able to tell me, okay, I need to do this and do that. But I also want to share with this group is that, yes, I followed that first couple of seasons, but then eventually what happened is that my goal became more on the spiritual side. So running became my sadhana. Sadhana meaning a practice, truly a spiritual practice for me. So if you know the word tapa is when you're burning your desires, right? So that's exactly what you're trying to do here. It wasn't about going to the forest and do meditation forever, retire from, and then make that your life, right? So I'm like, okay, can I use running to make this my spiritual journey? And that's exactly what happened. I started to not have any electronics with me in my runs and truly was with myself, right? Wow. So that was a really hard. Then I also, and Coach, you're going to not like this one because Coach Watts also doesn't like it, that I was trying to increase my less and less water intake, and I got to a point where I was able to do all the way up to 8.5 miles with no water. So that was my sadhana again, that discipline and that resilience, the endurance. How can I push my body? But then that made my runs, they were not the fastest runs, right? But if that was your goal, then that was not my goal. My goal was to be with my mind. How do I settle what the craziness happens in between the two ears? How do I calm it, right? So that became my journey. And believe it or not, I have changed the way I am as a human being. How I approach each of the season, coming back to your question, is more about how do I become better as a human being so that I can serve the community, serve my family, and even society at a higher level and giving back, right? So that is what has come back to me.
My God, what inspiring, beautiful comments. I'm sure both the Pankajes
Yes,
will support me when I say that. So inspiring to hear that, Jagruti.
true.
Yeah.
Two comments, two sort of golden nuggets that comes out of this, yes, which we say it all the time. The first one is one of the most beautiful thing about running, long distance training. Initially, people think it's the medal, the runner's high, blah blah blah. Those are all the first level initial things. It is really the me time. In this world of constantly being pulled in 85 parallel processing, 80 directions, electronics, all the things you mentioned. Getting me time is a very special thing, and running is a me time in a positive spiral environment because your body is in cardio output. So oxygen is flowing everywhere and you're feeling good, especially in winter. I feel that. I cover myself in balaclava and everything, and I'm running inside, I'm feeling warm within the soul, also in the body, and outside maybe snow. So, but I'm in my cocoon, in my thoughts, doing my thing, and it's a positive spiral activity. So you do it, you feel great, and that's another form of runner's high. Just me time alone, as Jagruti rightly said, nothing to do with pacing, nothing to do with anything else. Just me spending some time with myself, my thoughts coming back, kind of thing. Amazing. Plus, I know that that's a big attraction for many, definitely for me. Second is what you mentioned. There is a technical term for it. It's called in the zone running. It is a zone running that we all need to get to, and I'm sure all of you have been senior runners. You all would have experienced it multiple times in a season, where there will be some runs where you don't even realize you're running. You just started, and next thing you know is that you were somewhere else, and suddenly you realize that, oh my God, 7 miles is done. What happened from now? You just kept going. You didn't even realize that the roads are passing by, trees are passing by. You are in the zone. And what is that in the zone? That is where we need to get to. We need to get all our runs into the in the zone. And in the zone physiologically is that the body's output is in perfect equilibrium with body's requirement for executing that activity. Because of that, there is like when I'm sitting and watching TV, am I focused on how I'm sitting? I'm not. I'm just I don't even realize I've sat for 3 hours and watched a movie. Why? You are in the zone sitting, but you can do the same in the zone running where you don't even realize you're running, but you are just focused on something else and just distance passes by, which is what looks like Jagruti is trying to get to in her meditative state of running, which is fantastic. Fantastic. That drives, and now I know why you want to come back again and again, which is a very special thing. I'm so glad that you brought that up, and audience, you need to get to that. And once you experience that, you would like to get to that again and again. Pankaj Goel, what about you, man? When you look at your last many seasons, how have things changed for you?
So for me, Bala, I mean, of course, like I said, started very slow. But after the first season, the second season onward, it's been the same. And now I've gotten to the stage that half marathon is just like you tell me right now, go for half marathon, I can do half marathon, which was just not possible for me to even think of. So that's insane. Are you mad? Why are you running for so long? But now it's just like, okay, fine, I can do that. I usually like to listen to music. I mean, I often listen to your podcasts, enjoy that. And there are so many golden nuggets that you throw. Okay, your analogy of the leaf blower versus the BMW car engine. There are like so many things that I think about, the conversational pace that you talk of versus the sprint running. So I kind of correlate with them. I like to listen to music, and then I'm somehow lucky to be close to Middlesex Greenway, which is one of the nicest place to run. I mean, there are trees, there are shades. Like if it's very hot and sunny, you've got shades for it. It's neat and clean, and there's no bicycles, nothing, no traffic. So I'm kind of lucky in that sense that, you go over there, you don't even realize you've run 3 miles, 5 miles, and it's like you see people and children and everything. It motivates you. You don't even feel that you've done something. But I kind of enjoyed that over there.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you. This, by the way, especially new runners, if you're thinking that, hey, he just said go and do a half marathon and he just did it himself. I just want to make sure I say there is not even an element like a 0.0001% of bragging in that statement. That statement is simply a statement of fact. It's just a statement of fact, and it applies to pretty much a lot of us who have done 5-6 seasons and above, where a half marathon is not even a thought process. It doesn't even come into the head. You can do a half marathon anytime. Your body is so beautifully trained and tuned if you have done it for 6, 7, 7 seasons. That is where you all need to get to. You all need to get to that, and part of this podcast is that. Motivating some of you who are just starting or maybe 1 or 2 seasons in. Now it is all about checking the box, getting the medals, getting PRs. I'm sure some of you are in that zone. But really, that's all nice. That's all kids doing some small things. But really the real adult, so to speak, in this is that. Which is anytime you can go and get a medal for half marathon. That's not objective at all. The objective, for example, in Pankaj's thing is enjoying nature. Oh my God, what a beautiful thing, Why only nature, folks? Why only the meditation trail example, which is incredible, as he rightly said. After running, also my work is a lot of global travel, etc. I have been to so many cities, I don't even know which city it has been before running, I'm saying. Because I just go through Uber or whatever and I don't even realize what the city is. But once you start running, when you go for that's why when I tell runners, no, I'm going on business trip, I don't know whether I'll be able to run. I'm like, dude, you're approaching it in exactly the opposite way. If you're in a business trip, that's the greatest opportunity to go and experience a destination run in some other city. Go and run in a city. You will never see a city better than how you would experience it when you're actually running through that city. Those of you who are in and around New York, I don't know, ask yourself, have you gone to New York City and run? If not, do this season. It's just incredible experience of running in New York City. True. Things that you will see, you will never see it otherwise. So experiencing that, what nature offers you, is a fantastic thing that helps you to keep doing this over a long period of time. That's a wonderful additional thing that you all should learn in terms of how people approach this doing for a long season. Pankaj Bhatia, what are some of the golden nuggets from you, my friend?
So I think for me, what I noticed in the beginning, when a season would end, I think, oh my God, okay, done. So then we'll worry about it, am I going to go do the next one or not? But obviously, I don't think my wife registered me for the next one, but she dropped off for some reason or whatever. I think she had some meniscus tear and all that. But I, of course, registered again, thinking, okay, Sujai is right there, so why not? We'll just, keep going. But then, after the second season or the third one, I forget now, in between, I thought, oh my God, when I have to start the next season, it's almost like the first mile is so hard again, right? So after that, I said, okay, I think when the season ends and now you have that other thing, right, where you can continue your maintenance run, or I forget what the exact name was.
Yes, maintenance.
But I started doing that myself. I said, you know what, okay, this is something if I ended the 10K, of course I can run at least after the 10K, I should at least run 10 miles a week or at least 15 or something. And started that. And then my son, he was working from all over the world. My wife and I would go follow him. So we went to Portugal, South Africa, and, even India in Hyderabad. And so the point was that, hey, if you're here, I'm not going to give up on my, I need to check that box off, right? It was that feeling. So, okay, yeah, I'm going to go out, even though it's a little bit of planning your vacation a little bit. So my wife would say, wait a minute, you had 3 miles yesterday, you're going to 4 today. When are we going to see the sights? Well, I'm already seeing sights, and especially the place in South Africa, we were right by the beach, like in the Cape Town. It was beautiful. So to your point, I think the consistency, actually, that has helped me a lot. Because now you're not stopping and starting, it's part of the routine. So now when a new season comes about, you are like, yeah, good. Now it's more about the community that, they are like-minded people and, we do meet for parties, which is a different set. I mean, sometimes they are common, but the idea of having, like-minded people is very good. And also, I think some of the tips you catch on, even though you've been there for a while, like all these, we run it so professionally. You guys, I think the coaches do it. You feel like a real athlete, which I don't think I am, but you feel like that. And all the tips we talk about, like, hey, you do the roller is going to be good for you. So I've kind of adapted those things. Okay, I'm going to do my massage like with the roller and do my stretches. So kind of, even though I feel I'm 62 and I started running only like 3 or 4 years ago. I haven't injured. You can injure yourself, of course, with anything. slip on the ice, outside without running. So I think it's become part of my life, and I think that's the biggest gift that that I think that this community has given me. It is something like I walked a lot, like what Pankaj was saying, but I think this is more aerobic. It's really it's beautiful. So part of my life now.
So true. And so nice that you brought another facet of doing this over a long period of time. And what is it that makes you do that? Like when Pankaj brings about enjoying running in nature, experiencing nature. That is one thing that keeps you coming back again and again.
Motivated.
KP self-motivated. Jagruthi talks about, hey, this is me time. This is when I kind of try different things. That's the reason why I want to do this. And now Pankaj brings about the next thing, which is this is also a community. It's great to be in this positive-minded community, doing something positive. Man is a social animal. We can find our own community in different types of community. This community is about health, and this community is about once you're healthy, then we have the audacious. We are like literally being audacious to try different things. Suddenly it becomes go to London and do a marathon. I mean, there was a time, folks, before all this started, I don't even know anyone who would leave their town and actually do a race. Now it is just a regular affair, going to all kinds of parts of the world and in community going together, spending thousands of dollars and doing a race and coming back. It's just nobody even blinks an eye when somebody says, yeah, I went to Berlin last time, today I'm going to London, and somebody's going to Sydney. It's just, that's the community I'm talking about. It's about community focused on something that is very positive, health focused. Who are we? If our health is not there, we are just nothing. And we are all focused in the right time frame in our lives, guys. And I wanted to say one thing, since Pankaj brought this wonderful thing up. Health is something that always compounds, So how you know this is when recently, audience, about 3-4 months ago, I had gone for my 10th grade friends coming together and just generally having fun in India kind of thing. So all of the same age group. Same, I'm the least athletic, as I told you, never been this thing before. There are enough runners and sprinters those days. I go and meet them and just putting my modesty aside. The difference in health is I can't even explain. I'm like, my friends are looking as in acting like they are like already finished and they're graduated from life, and now they're talking about back pain, neck pain, that thing, taking medicine. Here I'm, dude, what the hell are you guys talking about, man? Let's just do it. I'm climbing mountains, I'm doing full marathons, it's something else. How is that? How did that happen? It's just compounding. The compounding benefits of being on a cardiovascular aerobic activity, because it's a full body workout, folks, including the mind, like what Jagruthi is focused on. It's a mental health too. So that's why these are all some cool tips that these three are telling us in their story, that we all should absorb it, and it takes some time. It's not an instant gratification activity, even though a medal is an instant gratification. But we are talking about 5 seasons, 7 seasons later. So I'm going to do one fun round with all of you. Quick hit questions. I have 3 questions, so you don't have time to think. Just blurt out the first thing that comes out of your head. And we're going to start with you, Pankaj. We'll start with Bhatia, Jagruthi, and Govil, and we go this 3 rounds, quick ones. Okay, let's start. First one, the most enjoyable run you have done thus far in the last whatever number of seasons.
I think in South Africa, the one I was mentioning, by the beach.
By the beach?
Yes.
Which city?
Cape Town.
Cape Town, love it. Jagruthi?
For me, it's Clearwater, the rock and roll marathon. Yes. That
Very
was a
nice.
fun one. Every mile, there was a rock band there.
Yeah, of course. I want to do that too. Pankaj?
For me, actually, it was my first half marathon, which was the Jersey City half marathon. It was beautiful and scenic, and actually that gave me a lot more gratification. Although I've done some more in Florida and other places, but the first one, which was the first half marathon, was the really amazing one for me. Wow. I've got really good memories of it.
Wonderful. Okay, let's go around. This time we'll again start with Jagruthi, and then we go to Govil and then to Bhatia. So Jagruthi, what was one toughest moment for you from a running situation in the last 5-7 years or 5-7 seasons?
So the toughest one was definitely it is working with the mind, getting up and getting that first mile to get going, putting those sneakers on. Once the sneakers are on, then it was like there was no end to it. So it's that getting started was the toughest one.
Makes sense. Govil?
For me, somewhat along the same lines, but what I have noticed is if I have not done my run or done my exercise in the morning, almost always I fail into something or the other. And there have been times like at 10:30 in the night when the watch is saying it's time to go to sleep, I'm actually trying to run because I'm just scared that my coach is gonna now see this, that we did not do it. So I'm doing it just for doing it. But that's the biggest thing. If you can get up in the morning and just do it,
Nothing
perfect.
like it.
Nothing
Totally.
like it. It goes like a breeze. You take a good shower, you're done.
Yeah, I mean, see, there's an important point, especially in in weekend long runs. If you start the weekend with finishing off the long run, your weekend is amazing. If you don't do
Yeah.
this, that pressure of, oh, should I have to finish a long run, I have to finish it, that itself kills your weekend. So it is
Yes.
better first thing Saturday morning, go and finish it off. Then you have a fantastic 2 week. I hope you all would agree with me when I say this, right?
Oh, definitely.
Very true.
But yeah, Bhatia, what about you?
So for me, I think we transitioned, I think almost 2 years ago to be totally have to go into work. And so now the problem is you come back home and it's too late or too dark, right?
Yeah.
So I started doing all the runs at work, and now it's a real juggling act, which I've figured out how to do. So, but I think in the beginning that was the tough part, like a change of clothes and maybe a shower, maybe not, depending on how you. And also, I started saying, okay, I'm not going to. And then I started putting it in my schedule at work, so the time is blocked and I'm off. So I think in the beginning it was the juggling act of how to make sure that you prioritize what is really important. I think.
Absolutely, I can totally see that. Totally, I can see that. See, folks, there is one other nugget here. And the nugget is don't think of running as some kind of a priority 3 item for the day. That means you will finish that and then finish this and then I will do this. It never works. You think of mentally running as your priority 1 item. That means you plug it into your calendar. You think about when you're going to do this before the day happens. You got to plan it. It doesn't happen after you finish everything. No. That is not the way you do
Yeah.
8 seasons. You don't do 8 seasons with that attitude. You got to think, okay, I am going tomorrow to New York. I think I have to work. I see that the weather is at 5 p.m., 4, it will become very dark. Temperatures are cold. Okay, you know what? Lunchtime I'm going to run. I'll plug in my calendar accordingly. That is when you finish. That's how you do this, okay? So for the next round, we'll start with Govil and we go to Bhatia and then end with Jagruthi. And the question is, hey, we have different types of runs. Conversational pace, stride runs, sprint runs, long mile, like long intervals, like 1 mile run and then interval type runs, then long runs, then race day. These are all different types of runs. So Pankaj, which one is your most favorite or type of activity and why out of these runs?
For me, conversational pace is the most advantageous to me. And I always strive to do, okay, I need to keep myself in zone 4 or zone 3. I should not touch zone 5. That's just more of my problem that I have it within me. But I like it that because that time I get a chance to, call people that I wanted to talk to back home or something, listen to music, really enjoy it. The stride one is good. I mean, all of the runs are good, but I kind of enjoy the conversational pace. Nice.
That's where that's where you are in your zone basically. I think.
Totally in my zone, yes.
Bhatia?
So, I mean, if Coach Suja was to listen to this, I kind of always just go do the pace run, like the conversational pace, not looking at the instructions of what that race is supposed, like what that run is supposed to be. So this year, I think as part of my goal is to make sure I do the one that is, if it is stride, then actually do it. She has to always remind me, okay, you did it, but you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So
Yes.
for stride, I think I kind of like the stride. What I'm trying to do there is not try to push myself too much, because if you do it too fast for those the intervals running, then I end up kind of screwing my knee up or something, which is not the goal. But once you set up your watch to do it correctly and you just follow it, and then I kind of like it. You do a bit, slow down, then do a bit. So I think that would be my favorite. But I have to remember to go look for it before I just do the normal conversational pace.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. So, folks, while he's saying that, so there is every type of run has a specific purpose, folks. There is a method to the madness here. It's while it might all seem like the same distance, we are trying to train different parts of your kinetic chain in different runnings types. So that's why coaches are like focused on, hey guys, why did you read the instruction? Our entire design of the program is in the instruction, not making you run the distance. That is okay, that's good. But it's almost like building a pyramid. We all want you to be at the top of the pyramid on the race day so that you have the highest sort of outcome because you're right at the top of your peak of your game. But for us to be, for you to be on top of the pyramid, you need to have different layers of the pyramid, right? If you're only building the bottom layer, you just imagine you just have the broadest bottom layer, your pyramid height is very, very small. So you need to climb up the pyramid, and for that you need to have enough bottom layer, which is the conversational pace. Then we have strides, then we have time strides, then we have like sprint runs, then we have long runs. These are all different types of runs, have specific outcome that we are focused on. And that's why we're doing it. And the best part about this training program is you don't have to worry about anything. Simply read the instructions and follow it. That's it. We are like making a nice chocolate and giving it to you. You just take the chocolate and put it in your mouth. That's it. That's all you need to do. That's why coaches say that. Guys, follow the instructions and then we'll go from there. Okay? Jagruthi, what about you?
And I think this group knows already which one would be my favorite. It is definitely the long run. No question about it. But if I had a second runner-up, I'd probably say reverse splits. Those are the most challenging for me, but my mind loves that challenge for some odd reason. Call me crazy, but yes.
Yes.
But I know those are some, I look forward to that, and I actually look at the program and say, okay, when am I doing this? Which is kind of odd. So call me crazy for that one, yes.
No, I enjoy that too quite a bit. So new runners here who haven't yet heard that term, which you will soon, it's called reverse split. The idea of reverse split is you are slowly and steadily increasing your pace in a very intentional manner, not by itself. You are literally, that's what is called the control. You have your control of your cardiovascular output, that you are able to slowly, like almost like changing the gears, like in a car. Engine is running in the same RPM, but you're slowly and steadily increasing the gear, and thereby the output is actually getting better and better. That's called the reverse split. It is, back to the pyramid analogy, it is on the top part of the pyramid. So unless you finish the base properly and the bottom 2 or 3 layers properly, you won't be able to do that properly, or even if you do that, it's not a sustained output. So it's a very fun, and it's almost like once you get the taste of the reverse split, every other run doesn't feel as satisfying as a reverse split. So, which is great. That's what, these people have been running for multiple seasons, so they have the luxury to do all of those things. But all the new runners, that's your goal. That's where you need to get to at some point. This is awesome.
The funny thing is that each time when you say these things, suddenly one of your podcasts, the balloon with slowly releasing the air, all of those things start coming back into your mind. Like the moment you say something, yeah, there's a podcast for that too. There's a podcast for that too. How he said this. It's funny how we correlate with that.
So true. See, repetition doesn't spoil the prayer. We are not doing any rocket science here. But sometimes brilliant basics is the most uncommon thing. Like they say, common sense is the most uncommon thing that we see among people. Like that. Brilliant basics is what we need to hit. And we'll keep doing this. Because the output is there. 50 minutes have gone by that so quickly, hearing from all of you. So let's get to the business end of the podcast. And let's go around one last time. We'll start with Bhatia, and then we go to Jagruthi, and then we end with Govil. So we have about 150 new runners who are just starting their sort of journey with us, their life journey with us this season. And so why don't you give a couple of tips to those new runners in terms of how to sort of think about this? How can they become like you are? What are some of the tips that they should be kind of keeping in mind to make that happen?
So I would say that I had really never run in my life. So I'm sure anybody who's starting can be a lot better than where you're starting from. The one thing I would say is that a couple of things would be that I guess definitely follow your final search guidelines as to, read what's there. That's what I was saying. I'm still not very good at that, but I think the more you do that, the better off you would be. And I guess the only other thing when I look back is you can never do enough stretching. And actually it was funny, my son was telling me that, okay, you do all the stretching when you're doing your runs, but you know what? When you go for a hike, you got to do the same stretching. So if you learn anything from this, like from my end, I think stretching, and then follow what's there for your day. Just do it that day, and then you're golden.
Great.
Then your output will be pretty much guaranteed.
Wonderful points. Jagruthi?
So for me, I definitely agree with Pankaj. He he makes a really good point. So do your strength trainings, don't miss those. But beyond that, I will say that do this for yourself, right? So this is a journey about you. I've had just a simply beautiful experience, transformative experience for myself. So I will share that. Make this about you, not about anybody else, and not like Balaji said. Don't make it about the medal, right? Make it about you. See what you can do from there, and don't forget the strength training. Just hone in on that. That is extremely important. And I'll add one more thing. If you're vacationing and that becomes your excuse, or what we do now is we plan our hotel stays where there are trails. Or if there are no trails, we just make sure that there is a fitness center in that hotel so we can at least have a treadmill. That has become a really important part of our destination sort of running.
100%. What a wonderful tactical, but very, I would even call it strategic here. It's not even tactical. This is something, Jagruthi, I follow so often, and it is such a benefit. It's a gift. It is just that we have to think accordingly. Like people who go to India, just every season they go back to India and say, oh man, India, there's nothing, no place to run, which is all true. Dogs are there, there's so many things. But then, have you asked yourself, hey, what if I take a Uber and go to one of the most marquee places in that city, wherever that is, and run there? Have you done that? You ask that question. And then India gives you places to run that is just incredible. Delhi, traveled 45 minutes to reach the parliament area, and I ran there, and I think it's one of my top 5 runs of ever. That is such that, what is that place? Janpat, the area, and it was a Republic Day, one day before Republic Day. And it was in the early morning with the army were like doing their training walks and all. People were doing the Sare Jahan Se Acha practice, the bands were doing that, and here I am running around the parliament, and it's pretty open out. You can run around everywhere, literally, like go up to Janpat and run around that area. Oh my God, I never thought anything like this is even possible. And then after that, if you're especially folks who are going from US back to India, you have this wonderful breakfast area. Idlis and dosas or whatever you want to have. So I was like just going extra 2 miles to eat that extra thing. So it's all a way of finding successes in these things. And then same thing in Bangalore, Lal Bagh and Vidhan Chowda area. Like that, every city has got certain special places. You just have to travel to the place and slight mind adjustments you have to make, and then you're set. That's what you need to do. It's a great idea, Jagruthi, that you brought up. Convert all your travels into not lame reasons, but an amazing opportunity to experience something that running alone can give you. That's the kind of thought process here. Oval, bring it on, buddy.
So for me, I think for any new runner, I would say that have faith and trust in the program. Believe in it and go for it. If you're doing it like, oh, I want to lose weight or I want to get a medal or this and that, you'll be disappointed. If you're doing it, do it for your own self. And as you said, you're always competing with your own self. So if you did something, try to make it better. And then have fun, play around. Look into the final search. Say, okay, I'm going to do this. I tweaked it a little bit. What happened in my final search? What did I do? How was my run? Look at the statistics. Engage with the coach. Don't just think that the coach is going to tell you something and, magically you'll become better. I mean, the coach is doing whatever he or she is doing. It's a charity. They're doing it for us. But we have to engage with them, and we have to give back feedback and help them so that we can enjoy and we can take advantage of it. So it's more for your own self. If you're doing it for your own self, you'll really have fun. You'll have fun, you'll do better, and you'll also be able to make good use of the program.
What beautiful words. Folks, in conclusion, think of this as something you're doing it for yourself with a beautiful me time.
Yep.
Time to enjoy nature at its absolute best, while constantly thinking about this as a positive spiral health activity that will get you to a place where you can do things that you never thought possible without even thinking, which is, if I just ask Govil to go right now and do a half marathon, he'll just go and do it and come. That would have happened 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons ago. Half marathon, to forget about it, even a mile he wouldn't have been able to do.
True.
That is 4 years ago. So he's older by 4 years, but stronger by 4x. That's the sort of the thought process here. I leave you all with that. And with that, thank you, Pankaj Bhatia, Jagruthi Ajwalia, and Pankaj Kovel. Thank you for not only being a guest and sharing your wonderful thoughts here, but also being part of the core members of RHWP who shape the community. Folks like you who have been here for a long time, or the folks are like sort of the pillars of our community. Who are always there helping out so many people, bringing your friends and family in, spreading the word of health to people. I know that you do that. So you are, inspiring so many people below you, looking at you, and I'm sure people who are going to see this are going to do that. So thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the season and multiple seasons coming forward from you.
Thank you, Bala.
You,
Thank
Bala.
you. And have fun.
Exactly.